General Hospital latest update. Explosive drama rocks Port Charles. Tracy's shocking press conference throws Drew's career into chaos until Cody swoops in with a surprising confession that clears her name. But at what cost? Meanwhile, Michael vows to destroy Willow's future with Drew, threatening to take the kids forever. Lynn's revenge on Lulu intensifies as she uncovers secrets that could tear Lulu's world apart, including Rocco's shocking parentage twist. Elsewhere, Curtis and Portia's marriage teeters as Kai betrays Trina, and Ava's fury grows over Cody's shady game. As Sonny braces for Sidwell's next strike and Gio faces rising danger, will Dante risk it all to save his son? Don't miss this tangled web of betrayal, heartbreak, and vengeance on General Hospital. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. After watching these videos, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. General Hospital Tuesday, June 24th recap. Tracy rides out of trouble on Cody's horse. General Hospital recap for Tuesday, June 24th, reveals that Lucy Co., Lynn Herring, met Jen Sidwell, Carlo Rota, and Marco Rios, Adrian Anchondo, for lunch, which brought Sidwell's hints about his failed deal for Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Bernard, Piers. Lucy wanted to be part of the sale and thought perhaps she could still make the deal happen, so she took off to try. Once Marco was alone with Sidwell, he suggested that Sonny wouldn't be an impediment for his father much longer, though he couldn't go into the details. Sidwell acknowledged that he didn't want to get his hands dirty when it came to Sonny, but he would if necessary. At the Metro Court pool, Jordan Ashford, Tanisha Harper, bickered with Portia Robinson, Brook Kerr, about her marriage problems and who was really responsible. After Jordan said Portia only had herself to blame, Portia threw a drink in her face. Isaiah Gannon saw Andy Wilson, tried to settle everything down, so Jordan thanked him privately. However, Isaiah now saw that Curtis Ashford, Donnell Turner, was an issue just like Sidwell was when it came to his own romantic chances with Jordan. At the gallery, Trina Robinson, Tabiana Ollie, explained what Kai Taylor, Jens Austin Astrup, overheard about Curtis Jacinda, Paige Herschel, plot. After Curtis acted like Portia was in trouble with Drew because of him, he pushed Trina to stay out of this. Curtis promised to tell Trina if things got worse, and got reassurance that she'd keep quiet along with Kai. When Portia met up with Curtis, she was eager to talk about Jordan, but he quickly shifted the topic to Trina instead. Curtis recapped his conversation with Trina and was hopeful about Kai not saying anything to Drew about the Jacinda scheme. At the press conference, Tracy stood by her claim that Drew Kane, Cameron Matheson, planted the ketamine vial to frame her, but Cody Bell, Josh Kelly, appeared and insisted she was wrong about that. Martin Gray, Michael E. Knight, was happy to have Cody as Drew's defender, but he quickly realized that wasn't what Cody had in mind. Instead, Cody stepped up to the podium and admitted he borrowed Tracy's vehicle when one of the horses needed a medical procedure. That's when Cody claimed he accidentally left the ketamine vial in Tracy's car. Cody produced a crumpled receipt that proved the order from the vet, but Martin said that could have been doctored up. Tracy was sure it could be authenticated and insisted on taking it to her lawyer. At one point, Martin face-planted in front of everyone and hurt his back in the process. Since Cody insisted Tracy was innocent and that Drew didn't frame anyone, Drew was forced to make a statement about Tracy seemingly being exonerated. Drew insisted he'd work closely with the PCPD to find the real culprit, but Tracy felt he should just look in the mirror. After the press conference was over, Drew raged at Martin since he looked even guiltier after all that drama. Martin then went to GH to get his back checked out following his tumble. Drew was worried about having to call off his wedding to Willow since his reputation had taken another hit. Once Drew expressed concern about Willow Tate, Caitlin McMullen, losing her kids forever, Kai admitted Curtis' scheme to get Jacinda back and get her to speak out against Drew. Kai wanted Drew to know, so that he could be prepared. As for Tracy, she was pleased over Cody's display and admitted to Brooklyn Quartermain, Amanda Seton, that it had been Michael Corinthos, Rory Gibson, idea. Meanwhile, Nina Reeves, Cynthia Watros, assured Carly Spencer, Laura Wright, that if she could talk Michael into giving Willow a generous visitation schedule, there's no way she could pass it up, even if Drew couldn't come with her. Nina thought Willow would eventually see that she didn't need Drew's help to have her children and said that would be the beginning of the end of their relationship. Carly argued that Drew was still calling the shots for Willow and refused to help Nina on this. At the Quartermain mansion, Michael vowed that if Willow married Drew, he'd make sure she never saw their kids again. Willow assumed Michael was just scared of her winning in court and stood her ground on this Drew marriage plan. When Willow did win, she suggested she'd try to have more compassion than Michael. Willow brought up flying all the way to Germany only to have Michael turn her away, but Michael insisted that never happened. Michael called Drew out for being a destructive, manipulative fraud, but Willow defended him. After Willow vowed to marry Drew and get her children back, she stormed out. At Sunny Corinthos, Maurice Bernard Place, he talked to Jason Morgan, Steve Burton, about acting DA Justine Turner, Nazanin contractor, losing her star witness soon. Sunny expected Natalia Ramirez, Eva LaRue, would deliver the incriminating records and accept his Belize offer. Sunny wasn't concerned about Natalia double-crossing him or spilling Sidwell, but he knew Sidwell would be striking back against him over the failed deal for the Piers. Lucy eventually showed up with a basket of oranges and tried to make that deal after all, but Sunny refused. Back with Nina, she summoned Jason to meet on the Metro Court patio, so he became her backup ally after Carly refused to help. Nina thought Jason could sway Michael on agreeing to visitation and help stop Willow's wedding to Drew. While Jason and Nina were talking, Willow popped up and assumed Michael sent Jason to intimidate her mom. Willow insisted on marrying Drew, so Jason shrugged over it being her choice. Back with Carly, she filled Michael in on Nina's seeking help to stop Willow's nuptials. Michael planned to delay the visitation hearing as long as possible and ultimately make sure Willow got nothing. Carly cautioned Michael since Wiley Corinthos, Byron Weaver, and Amelia Corinthos, Sequoia and Serenity Mork-Mako, could resent him when they got older, but Michael had to do this and face whatever the consequences were. General Hospital spoilers say Michael and Willow have more custody turmoil ahead of them, so stay tuned for updates on all the bad news and heated conflict. Next update, General Hospital. Gio and Lulu's bonding sparks Brooklyn's fury. General Hospital sees Brook, Lynn Quartermain, Amanda Seton, determined to get revenge on Lulu Spencer, Alexa Havens-Bruning, for her meddling with Gio Palmieri's Giovanni Mazza, parent reveal. And things are about to get so much worse this week because Brooklyn is going to find out Lulu has been talking to Gio what he won't give her or Dante Falconeri, Dominic Zamprogna, the time of day. We're going to talk about how Brooklyn may throw her revenge plan against Lulu into high gear after she notices a growing closeness to her son Gio. Brooklyn Quartermain's revenge plot, targeting Lulu Spencer and Gio. So right now, Brooklyn is on a mission. She wants revenge on Lulu for digging into her life and exposing her long-buried baby secret. It's bad enough that Lulu exposed Brooklyn for having Dante's baby as a teenager and giving it up for adoption, but then Lulu found out something Brooklyn didn't even know. First, she found out her baby, with Dante, was a boy. BLQ was stunned by that. And then Lulu figured out Gio was Brooklyn and Dante's son, and she confirmed it by confronting Lois Cerullo, Rena Sofer, at the nurses' ball instead of somewhere less public. And then she never went to talk to Brooklyn about it or anything, even when she first had the suspicion that Gio was her kid. That's what Dante is so mad about, that she just went hog wild and didn't even come talk to the right people. Plus, even though Lulu was told repeatedly that BLQ was in the dark about the family adoption and that it was Gio, Lulu just decided to keep thinking the worst of Brooklyn because that's what she wants to do. Lulu's past and its impact on current actions in General Hospital. So, part of this may be some leftover teen pregnancy issues of her own. If you were watching way back in the day, you may remember Lulu got pregnant by Dylan Quartermain, then Scott Clifton, tricking him into cheating on his wife. And when he found out Lulu was pregnant, Dylan wanted the baby. But Lulu decided to abort the child. And Brooklyn didn't hassle Lulu about that decision as a teen. But Lulu definitely hassled Brooklyn about her making her own choice about her teen pregnancy. In Lulu's mind, BLQ was wrong for not telling Dante, but her own teen dilemma was done the right way when she actually kind of did Dylan dirty, And of course, since Lulu just couldn't leave it alone or wait for a private moment, Gio overheard her and Lois, and he learned the truth in the worst possible way. And then, of course, Dante and Brooklyn found out because Gio announced it to the entire nurses' ball and smashed his violin. I still say that was the best act at this year's nurses' ball. Most of the others were not great. It was not up to its usual standards in my opinion. Upcoming spoilers: Brooklyn's escalating revenge and Lulu's unapologetic stance. Anyway, Brooklyn is now on the warpath, and she's already got this plan in motion to get revenge on Lulu for appending her and Dante's lives, but mostly for causing Gio so much pain. This week's spoilers have BLQ seeing something that bothers her, and it could be Lulu having a friendly chat with Gio. Recently Lulu went over to the Metro Court where he works to apologize to Gio, and he was very understanding. Said it wasn't Lulu's fault. He's mostly just upset with his biological parents, Brooklyn and Dante, who had no idea he was right under their noses this whole time. And of course, Joe's furious at his grandmother, Lois, and great-grandmother, Gloria Cerullo, Ellen Travolta, for creating this whole lie and then sticking to it. And if you recall, I think it was last week, Maxie Jones, Kirsten Storms, tried to broker peace and wanted Lulu to apologize to Brooklyn for hurting her son, Gio, and butting into something that wasn't her business. But Lulu is just unapologetic. She's an out-of-control wrecking ball lately. And, understandably, BLQ was furious. And it got worse because Lulu said no regrets about what she's done. She refused to apologize to Brooklyn and defended what she did, saying the truth needed to come out. Potential twists: Britt Westbourne's connection and Rocco's true parentage in General Hospital. Well, that's interesting because there could be some truth coming out soon that may burn down Lulu's life. As of right now, Gio and Lulu have become friendly. She's the mom of his half-brother, Rocco Falsaroni, Finn Francis Carr, and Lulu wants them to bond as brothers. So, I expect we'll see lots more of Gio interacting with Lulu. And that is definitely going to infuriate Brooklyn, not only because she hates Lulu, but because Gio won't even talk to his parents. But there he is chatting up Lulu, who's a big-mouth betrayer as far as BLQ sees her. So, if it is Lulu that Brooklyn sees with Gio in this week's spoilers, Brooklyn's going to spiral into even more of a rage than she's already in. And Brooklyn is soon going to double down on her plan to make Lulu pay. She's got Marco Rios, Adrian Anchondo, digging up dirt on Lulu right now. And more, it seems that Brooklyn thinks Britt Westbourne, Kelly Thibault, is the key to knocking Lulu off her pedestal and proving she's not half the mom she claims she is. General Hospital, Britt's past. So, if you're a long-time General Hospital watcher, you may remember years ago Britt turned up pregnant, claimed the baby was Patrick Drake's, Jason Thompson. Britt was jealous and was trying to keep Patrick away from this nurse. I won't go into all the names because that's so much history. We could talk about this for an hour. Next update: General Hospital's Cody does it again. He's about to ruin another good thing. Will Cody lose his relationship with Molly before it begins? Will Cody ever learn on General Hospital? Things were looking up for the Quartermain's stable hand, but he is about to blow it all away once again. Looking for love. Cody, Josh Kelly, was a disaster when he first arrived in Port Charles. He was a gambling opportunist who took advantage of Britt and lied to Mac, John J. York. He made a turnaround when he fell for Sasha, Sophia Matson, and risked his life to save her from being drugged and institutionalized against her will. They would have made a great couple if it hadn't turned out that they were cousins. Cody also came clean with Mac and was welcomed into the Scorpio family with open arms. He was heartbroken over Sasha, but had plenty of support from his newfound family and a job he loved. He no longer had a reason to scam people and every reason to be on the straight and narrow. Another plus for Cody was a budding relationship with Molly, Kristen Vaganos. This unlikely couple was sweet together and seemed to be slowly falling for each other. In all the wrong places. Cody just can't help himself. Everyone in Port Charles should know not to get involved in a scheme with Christina, Kate Monsey, but Cody is not everyone. When she approached him to pursue Ava, Maura West, he should have run for the hills, but he did not. Cody decided to seduce Ava for money. Not a good idea. Ava is smart and extremely resourceful. She is likely to figure out what he is doing, but even if she falls for it, there will be hell to pay when the truth comes out. You do not want to be on Ava's bad side. More importantly, Whatever happens with Ava will ruin his chances with Molly. They could have been something, but working with Christina on this will destroy any relationship they could have built together. On a side note, it will also break the sisters' fragile bond. Why would Cody do this? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Next update, Tracy's exonerated of drugging Drew, and Michael warns Willow that she'll never see their kids again. Today on General Hospital, Portia accuses Jordan of causing problems for her marriage. Lucy tries to convince Sonny to sell his peers. Kai betrays Trina's trust. At the Quartermain mansion, Michael accuses Willow of marrying Drew as a legal tactic. He tells her that if she marries that man, she will never see their kids again. Willow lashes back that once she and Drew are married, she'll have a shot at getting partial custody. Michael yells at her that her relationship with Drew is why she lost custody in the first place, and he will never let Drew be a part of their children's lives. Willow tells Michael he's been unreasonable from the start, and he wouldn't even see her when she went to Germany. Michael says nobody told him she was there, but she tells him the receptionist told her that he said he didn't want to see her. Michael says that makes no sense. Willow says it's clear Michael is keeping her children from her to punish her for falling in love with Drew. Michael says he would never do that, but she tells him it's what he's doing. Michael says he won't stop her from living out this warped fantasy life with Drew, but he won't let her drag their kids into it. Willow tells Michael that she is marrying Drew and getting her children back, and there is nothing he can do to stop it. She storms out. Jason and Sonny discuss Sidwell. At Sonny's, he tells Jason about running into D.A. Turner at softball practice, and she has no idea her star witness against him is about to disappear. Jason says the house for Natalia is set up, and Sonny says as soon as she drops off the incriminating records, they'll ship her off to Belize. Jason does have one concern, and that is that Natalia could have told Sidwell what she knows. Sonny doubts Natalia would have told him, as she hates him. But even with Natalia gone, Sidwell will come for them in one way or another. Sonny couldn't make that deal with Sidwell to sell him his peers, and now they have to be prepared for blowback. Lucy offers to help Sidwell. At the Metro Court Gardens, Lucy meets with Sidwell for lunch and seems a bit annoyed to learn that he invited Marco to join them. Marco arrives, and Sidwell tells Lucy he had hoped to throw a sail her way with Sonny's peers, but he turned his offer down. Lucy suggests she may be able to make the deal happen, and she'll go visit Sonny right now. Sidwell calls her an angel and hugs her. Carly turns Nina down. Elsewhere, Carly asks Nina why she thinks she can pry Willow away from Drew this time. Nina explains that if Willow can see the kids without Drew, she will eventually realize that she doesn't need Drew to help her keep the kids in her life. Carly tells her she's still dreaming, and Drew still calls the shots. Carly tells Nina it's on her to find a way to stop Willow from marrying Drew, as nobody else can. Portia calls out Jordan. At the pool, Portia calls Jordan out for entertaining her husband all day and causing problems in her marriage. Jordan tells her that she and Curtis are friends and are still family. Jordan tells Portia to be a woman and step up. If her marriage is on the rocks, Jordan says Portia only has herself to blame. Isaiah watches from the sidelines as Portia throws a drink in Jordan's face. Isaiah hustles over and tells Portia that she should come with him. Portia warns Jordan to stay out of her marriage. Isaiah pulls Portia aside as she rants that she has to deal with this once and for all. She gets a text and says, "Now is my chance." Portia takes off, and Jordan thanks Isaiah for interfering. She can't believe Portia flew off the handle like that. Isaiah says he saw her with Curtis, and Portia had a right to be worried. Lucy makes an offer. Lucy arrives at Sonny's with a basket of oranges. Jason takes off, and Lucy wants to talk to Sonny about his peers. Sonny asks if Sidwell sent her, but she insists he didn't. She is here to get him and Laura out of this sticky situation with Measure C. Sonny says he turned Sidwell down as he's a bad guy. Lucy says they are all in business together. Deception stock is soaring, and they could make even more money if Sidwell had those peers for shipping. Sonny is worried he won't just ship minerals. Nina reaches out. Nina calls Jason, who later meets Nina at the Metro Court Gardens. She needs his help convincing Michael to let Willow see the kids without Drew. She believes this will give her the time to convince Willow to dump Drew, as she no longer needs him now that she can see her kids. Jason says it could work. Suddenly, Willow appears and asks what is going on. Elsewhere, Marco asks his father if he thinks Lucy can convince Sonny to sell his peers. Sidwell says Lucy is very good at persuading people. Marco says, regardless, that Sonny won't be a problem for him for much longer. Michael tells Carly his plan. Carly drops by the QS and tells Michael that she just spoke to Nina, who thinks that if he lets the kids see Willow without Drew, it will help Willow realize she doesn't need Drew. Michael says he's realized nothing can help Willow now, and no one will keep her and Drew apart. He's going to have Diane delay the visitation hearing as long as she can, but when it happens, he must make sure Willow ends up with nothing. He must keep the kids from her for their good. Trina wants to help her parents. At the gallery, Curtis asks Trina why she thinks her mom is in trouble. Trina tells him what Kai overheard the day Grandpa came for a visit, so she needs to know what is going on. Curtis says her mother is in a situation, and they are handling it. Trina understands he's trying to protect her, but he's making a mistake, and she can help. Curtis explains this is because he and Drew are at odds, and he targeted her mother to get to him. If she gets involved, Drew will target her. He assures her that her parents can handle this, and asks her not to discuss this with anyone. Trina says she won't, and neither will Kai. Later, Portia meets Curtis in her office and is glad he called. She knows he was with Jordan at the pool today. Curtis stops her and tells her the reason he called her is that Trina knows she's in trouble with Drew. He explains what Kai overheard, and fortunately, he doesn't think Kai would tell Drew, as that would hurt Trina and this family. An unexpected press conference guest. At City Hall, Tracy cannot call Drew by the name Quartermain and states she can't do this. She says Drew took drugs, then he planted them in her car to frame her, and he should be thrown out of office the way Monica threw him out of the mansion. Martin tells Lynn to take her granny home as she's having a stroke or sundowning. Tracy goes off on Martin, and Kai manages to get Drew off camera and out of the way of Tracy and Martin's spat. Everyone stands by and watches as Martin and Tracy insult one another. Martin accuses Tracy of drugging the congressman. Tracy counters that she did no such thing, and Drew planted the ketamine in her car to frame her. Suddenly, Cody appears and tells Tracy she's dead wrong about that, and Drew is innocent. Tracy cries out that she can't believe Cody, as she gave him a job and a roof over his head. Martin thinks they should listen to Cody Bell, pull him up in front of the cameras, and introduce Cody to the press as Mac's son. Martin asks if Cody is saying that Drew did not plant the ketamine in Tracy's car. Cody states he knows he didn't. Cody explains that he is in charge of the horses on the estate. He had to get some anesthetic and other supplies for one of the horses' medical procedures. He borrowed Tracy's car as his truck was on the fritz, something he did without her knowing. He picked up supplies for the procedure, which included ketamine. He says Tracy is innocent as well. He's the reason the rug was in her car. Tracy smiles. Martin asks Cody why he took so long to come forward. Cody claims he doesn't watch the news, as it's always sad, and he only found out about these charges today when he happened to turn on the TV. Martin thinks Tracy's paying him to lie, but he pulls out a receipt for the ketamine. Tracy grabs the receipt and says she's sending this to her lawyer for authentication. Martin demands the receipt and reaches for it from the stage, only to fall off and onto his face. Kai helps Martin up, and Tracy pulls Drew on stage to make a statement of his own and wrap this conference up. Drew says it appears his aunt didn't drug him, and he will work with the PCPD to find out who did. Tracy laughs and tells him to look in the mirror to find the guilty party. In his office, after the press disperses, Drew lashes out at Martin, blaming him for not seeing what Tracy was planning because he was so focused on revenge. Martin, who is in pain from the fall, decides to go to the hospital to get checked out and limps away. Drew vents to Kai that he now appears even guiltier. He needs to repair his reputation, as he and Willow are getting married and trying to get custody of her kids back. However, if his name isn't cleared and the judge thinks he's a drug user, he'll fail his constituents and the woman who he loves. Out in the auditorium, Chase talks with Cody about his speech and wonders if he really has a receipt for the ketamine. Cody admits he's not great at bookkeeping, and it's around somewhere. Chase isn't surprised. Lynn, meanwhile, tells Tracy that Cody coming to her rescue was unexpected and she is going to owe him big time. In the show's final moments, at his place, Sonny tells Lucy that he loves her and their friendship, and she's a savvy businesswoman. Savvy enough to know this is a situation she shouldn't be involved in. Lucy says she will back off, but she thinks he's judging Sidwell on his reputation and not his actions. She thanks him for hearing her out. He thanks her for the delicious oranges. At the Metro Court, Sidwell asks his son if he knows something about Sonny. Marco says he's said as much as he can, and Sidwell understands. Sidwell hopes he doesn't have to get his hands dirty to rid this town of Sonny, but he will if he must. He then looks over and sees Willow, Nina, and Jason together. Willow thinks Michael sent Jason to intimidate her, which Jason denies. Willow says they're all wrong about Drew, who is a good man. She's going to marry him and get her kids back. Jason says if that's her choice, then okay. He walks off. At the pool, Jordan insists to Isaiah that nothing is going on between her and Curtis, and she is sorry things didn't work out between them. Isaiah says he can see Sidwell wasn't the only man to come between them, and if she doesn't see that she still has feelings for her ex, she's in for a rude awakening soon. In her office, Curtis tells Portia that Felicia has tracked Jacinda to Australia and hopefully he can talk to her and convince her to come back and rat Drew out for being focused on sex and drugs that night. At City Hall, Tracy tells Lynn that Cody lying for her was Michael's idea and that a real Quartermain gets things done. In his office, Drew tells Kai that he'll have to call off the wedding, and everyone seems to be against him. Kai tells Drew there is something he needs to know. He rats out Curtis' plan to the congressman and warns him to start preparing now, should Curtis be successful. At the Q's, Carly tells Michael that she understands his position, and she's been there. She reminds him that she kept him from AJ for what she thought was his own good, and he never thanked her for it. She tells him that when they are grown, his kids may not thank him for keeping them from their mother, and they may even resent him. Michael says he knows, and he'll have to live with the consequences of his actions. On the next General Hospital, Dante tells Lynn they need to work together to reach Gio. Tracy needs to discuss someone's payment. Cody asks if his job is already done. Liz asks Lucas if he thinks she's leading Rick on. In a hospital bed, Martin tells Rick that he's the only one who can irritate that woman. Ava fumes about someone for being a liar. Sonny asks someone, "What is your answer going to be?" Next update, General Hospital spoilers Wednesday, June 25th. Ava fumes over liar. Sonny gets an answer. Cody's new instructions. General Hospital spoilers for Wednesday, June 25th, reveal that Dante Falconeri, Dominic Zamprogna, will meet with Lynn Quartermain, Amanda Seton, and insist that if they're going to reach Gio Palmieri, Giovanni Mazza, they'll have to work together. While Lynn and Dante strategize on how to get through to Gio, Tracy Quartermain, Jane Elliott, will have a meeting of her own with Cody Bell, Josh Kelly, and suggests they should discuss his payment. Cody stepped up for Tracy with that bogus story about borrowing her car and accidentally leaving the ketamine vial inside because of a horse procedure. Tracy will plan to reward Cody handsomely, but it looks like she may have another task for him to complete first. Cody will end up following some new instructions, so stay tuned for updates on whatever Tracy might order him to do next. At GH, Lucas Jones, Van Hansis, will witness a close moment between Rick Lansing, Rick Hurst, and Elizabeth Baldwin, Rebecca Herbst. It'll leave Lucas with concerns about Liz giving Rick the wrong idea. "Do you think I'm leading Rick on?" Elizabeth asks Lucas in Wednesday's preview video. As for Martin Gray, Michael E. Knight, he fell flat on his face and hurt his back at the press conference. That's why Martin will be hospitalized and receive some unfortunate news, presumably about the injury he sustained. When Rick pays him a visit, Martin will insist that if anyone can irritate that woman, it's Rick. Alexis Davis, Nancy Lee Grahn, is typically the one most irritated by Rick, so we'll see if Martin's referring to her. Whatever the case, Alexis will request a conversation with Elizabeth on Wednesday's show. That'll give Elizabeth and Alexis a chance to address Christina Corinthos Davis, Kate Monsey, involvement in the car crash now that Liz knows about her sabotage blunder. Alexis may seek reassurance that Elizabeth isn't going to rat Christina out for cutting the brakes on the wrong car. Although Liz obviously doesn't approve of what Christina did, she's indeed willing to keep her mouth shut and avoid sending Alexis' daughter to prison. As for Ava Jerome Mora West, she'll fume as she mutters to herself about a lying liar. Will Ava catch on when it comes to Cody's game, or could this be part of Christina's plan to turn her against Rick instead? Next, Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Bernard, will speak with someone and ask what their answer's going to be. This might involve another meeting with Natalia Ramirez, Eva LaRue, who has to decide whether she'll hand over the incriminating records and accept a new life in Belize. However, Marco Rios, Adrian Anchondo, has been trying to work out a deal for Natalia and will make a special delivery on Wednesday's episode. Will Marco hand over the incriminating evidence to acting DA Justine Turner, Nazanin contractor? Instead, General Hospital spoilers say Sonny has more issues headed his way before the week's over, so don't miss all the trouble ahead. Next update, General Hospital spoilers June 25th. Brook, Lynn, and Dante have a Geo conversation. Next on GH, Dante and Brook Lynn discuss Geo. Marco makes a delivery. Cody follows orders. In addition to Dante and Brook Lynn discussing Geo, General Hospital spoilers for Wednesday, June 25th, 2025, will also focus on Alexis seeking out Elizabeth and Martin getting bad news. Next on General Hospital. Ever since finding out that he had an adult son out there in the world, and that son was Giovanni Mazza, Dante, Dominic Zamprogna, has been seething. His anger for those involved in keeping the adoption from him has been building. He has avoided talking to Brook Lynn, Amanda Seton, yelled at Lulu, Alexa Havens, and even had a jailhouse confrontation with Chase, Josh Swickard. But now is the time for Dante and Brook Lynn to discuss Geo. If Dante can contain his anger, hopefully, the two will be able to come up with a plan to reach out to Geo and make him realize they would like to forge a parental connection with him. Deliveries and dicey interactions. When Alexis, Nancy Lee Grahn, seeks out Elizabeth, Rebecca Herbst, hopefully, she's doing so with the knowledge that Elizabeth knows what Christina, Kate Monsey, did. Christina must have told her mom, right? Alexis fancies herself the one-woman Christina defender, after all. She knows her daughter messed up royally, but she's determined to do everything she can to keep her out of prison. So, what does she have to say to Elizabeth? Meanwhile, Marco, Adrian Anchondo, who works at Alexis's office, makes a delivery. But something tells us this isn't about Alexis, but for one of his clients. Maybe he made progress in that research that Brook Lynn asked him to do. Did he come up with an incendiary way to make Lulu pay for putting Brook Lynn's business on blast and making Joe's life hell in the process? Cogs in the wheel. Both Martin, Michael E. Knight, and Cody, Josh Kelly, are in the unenviable position of having their lives controlled by everyone else. Tracy, Jane Elliott, helped destroy Martin's reputation and wallet by sicking his ex-wives on him. As a result, he did a jail stint and had to pony up a ton of money. Since returning to Port Charles, he has been obsessed with humiliating Tracy and has turned into an ambulance-chasing type of attorney. He has bills to pay, after all. Well, Tracy didn't play along at the press conference. And now Martin is about to get bad news. Exactly what does he learn? As for Cody, he stupidly entered into a deal that has him working for Christina. His mission that he accepted, he has to seduce Ava, Mora West, in exchange for an unclear amount of money. However, he just helped Tracy with quite the coup. He lied to help her escape the drugging Drew charges. Will he have to follow more of her orders? Or will there be movement in his and Christina's plan? Next update, beloved General Hospital, Santa Barbara, and guiding light alum dead at 68. We are saddened to report that former soap star Joe Marinelli has passed away at the age of 68. His former Santa Barbara castmate Lee J. McCloskey, Ethan, paid tribute to the actor on his official Facebook page. A sweeter man or a dearer friend you could not find than Joe Marinelli. McCloskey then went on to state, I knew Joe was sick and so admired his indefatigable spirit throughout what sounded like a very difficult, if not impossible, ordeal. Oh, his friend, he called the actor, a champion, a great acting partner, teacher, philosophical friend, passionate believer in people and a storyteller extraordinaire that with laughter and depth revealed the human spirit so beautifully and in so many different ways. After reflected on Marinelli's beautiful, incredibly talented family and his amazing wife Jean, McCloskey continued, "It saddens me greatly to say goodbye to my old friend and his belief in the goodness and even the possible greatness of the human adventure. I'm glad I walked this earth with you, Joe. Godspeed, old friend. May your spirit soar beyond the stars and reacquaint you with the greater wonder from which you came." Marinelli landed his first soap role on Santa Barbara in 1988 as Bunny Tagliati, then went on play Polly on Guiding Light in 1993. In 1999, he took on the role of Joseph Sorrell on General Hospital, a role he played for 2 years, and appeared on numerous primetime series and films, most recently, The Morning Show as Donnie. We sends Marinelli's wife Jean, his sons Vincent and David, their family and friends our deepest condolences. Next update, mom of General Hospital's Johnny Wachter pleading with Apple to unlock late son's phone. General Hospital spoilers note that as fans continue to mourn the loss of the late Johnny Wachter, his mother, Scarlett Wachter, is looking for a court order to request that Apple unlock her son's electronics. This includes his iPhone, as well as his Apple desktop and laptop. As per Us Weekly, this past Friday, June 20th, Scarlett requested the court issue an order that would have the techie company allow her access to Johnny's devices. Scarlett is the administrator of her son's estate and wants to review these items to determine if there is information on Johnny's computers or phone regarding financials or financial assets. According to Scarlett, she has talked to Apple, but they won't help her unless they have a court order to do so. She stated the company informed her the order needs to relay. Apple is ordered by the court to assist in the recovery of Johnny's personal data from their accounts, which may contain third-party, personally identifiable information or data. It's been just over a year since Johnny was shot in the early hours of May 25, 2024, in LA. The actor was leaving a shift as a bartender at an establishment with a coworker when he saw some criminals trying to steal the catalytic converter from his vehicle. Johnny was only 37 years old at the time of his passing. Scarlett has stated that attempting to unlock her son's devices and working with Apple on this has been frustrating. While she's looking for accounts belonging to her son, she also wants to retrieve precious videos and photos from her son's devices, too. The last thing she wants is memories from her son's life erased. In June 2024, Scarlett filed a petition to be named the administrator of Johnny's estate, and the judge approved this request, giving the late actor's mom control of his bills and finances. General Hospital spoilers note that, sadly, sometimes life can imitate art, as Johnny's character on the ABC soap passed away in September 2022 thanks to the hook, aka Heather Weber, Allie Mills. Still, much like Johnny, his legacy lives on in the wonderful memories and positive impact he had in the land of Port Charles. Next update, GH fans are done. Is the Willow and Drew story dragging too long? Is it time to put Drillo out of its misery? Will General Hospital ever wrap up the Willow and Drew story? Some fans think it is time to start winding it down. How much more awful can he get, and how naive can she possibly be? Wallowing. She didn't think it was possible, but it happened. Willow, Caitlin McMullen, lost custody of her children. Unbeknownst to everyone, the judge had a little help from Sidwell, Carlo Rota, but she also laid out all of the reasons why the kids went to Michael, and they made sense. Did Willow believe signing Wiley, Byron Weaver, and Amelia, Sequoia, and Serenity Mork-Mako to Drew, Cameron Matheson, was a good idea? Now she is distraught and walking around Port Charles like a zombie. It reminds us of the days when she had cancer, and she was only shown lying on the couch all day. It's time for this character to grow a backbone and take charge of her own life. How long can she possibly listen to a man who has so obviously destroyed her world? Fans want to scream at their screens that it is time for her to wake up. It's time they drew the line. GH took the Drew character from a likable guy to the most hated man in Port Charles. Was there a point to this personality change? Fans are waiting for him to get hit on the head to return to his true self, but that seems less and less likely. He sinks lower and lower with each passing day, and we have yet to see what his goal is. He continuously comes up with harebrained schemes to convince Willow that he is helping her, and she falls for them every time. Fans think that losing her children should have been the final straw to wake her up, but that didn't do it. Not only is she staying with him, but he has also persuaded her to marry him. Are the writers planning a "Who Shot Drew" storyline? If they are, do it already and put this awful couple out of their misery. Do you agree? Are you tired of Drillo? Let us know in the comments section. Next update, General Hospital spoilers. Dante saves Joe's life. Dad rescues son from Sidwell danger? General Hospital spoilers reveal that ever since the news about Gio Palmieri's Giovanni Mazza parentage blew up, he's been pushing most of his family members away. That includes Dante Falconeri, Dominic Zamprogna, who was thrown for a loop when he found out Gio was his son with Brook, Lynn, Amanda Sutton. Now Dante would like a chance to build a bond with Gio, but he's facing some challenges. Since Dante blamed Gio after Rocco Falconeri's Finn Carr alcohol poisoning drama, Gio feels like he knows what Dante really thinks of him. As far as Joe's concerned, the father-son revelation shouldn't change anything. It's clear that this storyline needs a big turning point, one that shows Gio what a good heart Dante has and how much he truly cares. What better way to achieve that than by having Dante save Joe's life? Dante just might get that opportunity now that Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Bernard, feud with Jen Sidwell, Carlo Rota, is escalating. GH's weekly preview shows Sidwell looking at photos of Sonny's loved ones, including Gio. Sonny can also be heard in the promo predicting that violence is coming to Port Charles and hoping to stop it, but it may be too late. Gio could ultimately land in harm's way if Sidwell moves forward with some troubling plans. Whether Gio gets kidnapped or lands in the line of fire, Dante could step up to save him. It's easy to imagine Dante pulling off a dramatic rescue, perhaps with an assist from Harrison Chase, Josh Swickard, since that would help heal their broken bond. 2. Chase will certainly want to do everything he can to save Brooklyn's son if things take a dangerous turn for Gio. That said, it makes sense for Dante to take the lead and maybe even get injured saving Gio from a grim fate. Dante may put his own life at stake for Gio and jumpstart some real bonding between them in the end. General Hospital spoilers say Gio may make some updates to his point of view when it comes to Dante in the coming weeks, so stay tuned. Next update, General Hospital Tuesday, June 24th update. Tracy's chaos unfolds, Lucy dances with the devil, Carly's plea to Michael. General Hospital spoilers update for Tuesday, June 24th, reveals Michael Corinthos, Rory Gibson will warn Willow Tate, Caitlin McMullen, not to go down this marriage road with Drew Kane, Cameron Matheson. If Willow goes ahead with tying the knot, then Michael will plan to keep the kids away from her permanently. Despite Michael's angry vow, Willow will argue that he's not running the show anymore. Since Willow has faith in Drew and his marriage strategy, she'll insist Michael won't get his way this time around. Meanwhile, Carly Spencer, Laura Wright, will mull over Nina Reeves' Cynthia Watros pitch. Nina feels like if Carly can persuade Michael to allow Willow visitation now, they can pump the brakes on this Drew wedding. Although Nina will view that as step one to ending Willow and Drew's relationship, her plan may flop now that Willow's riled Michael up again. Carly will eventually make a plea to Michael, but it's doubtful it'll change anything. Willow just isn't getting how dangerous and manipulative Drew is, so Michael will want to put his foot down. Next, let's talk about the aftermath of Tracy Quartermain's Jane Elliott press conference truth. Tracy just couldn't bring herself to lie and play Drew up as a real Quartermain, so she trashed him on camera instead. Now that Tracy has unleashed total chaos, Drew will be hopping mad. Brook, Lynn Quartermain, Amanda Sutton, will inevitably scold her granny, but Tracy will feel like she did what she had to do. At the gallery, Trina Robinson, Tabiana Ollie, will predict catastrophe now that Curtis Ashford, Donnell Turner, is hoping to find Jacinda, Paige Herschel, and pay her to dispute Drew's innocence. Although Trina will fret over the consequences for Curtis and Portia Robinson, Brooke Kerr, her dad will promise everything's going to work out. Speaking of Portia, she'll face an earful now that she's launched a showdown at the Metro Court Pool. Jordan Ashford, Tanisha Harper, will make it clear that Portia needs to worry less about Curtis' exes and more about fixing her own marriage. While Jordan snaps at Portia, Drew will continue to seethe over Tracy's press conference shocker. In the midst of all his anger, Drew will get updates on some inside info that he wasn't expecting. Will Kai Taylor, Jens Austin Astrup, spill what he overheard at Curtis and Portia's house? Kai knows about Curtis' scheme to bribe Jacinda, so Drew may become privy to that plot too soon enough. On the Metro Court patio, it looks like Lucy Co., Lynn Herring, will offer to help Jen Sidwell, Carlo Rota. Lucy, Sidwell, and Marco Rios, Adrian Anchondo, will all be sitting around a table when Lucy suggests she perhaps could still make it happen. Whether this involves Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Bernard, deception business, or something else, Lucy will be brimming with confidence as usual. Regardless, General Hospital spoilers say Sidwell may resort to more drastic measures against Sonny soon, so some awful news could be brewing for the Corinthos clan. Next update, General Hospital spoilers preview June 24th. Tracy can't hold back any longer, and Drew's about to get roasted. Jordan snaps at Portia, while Tracy drops truth bombs and Willow stands her ground. The next General Hospital spoilers video for Tuesday, June 24th, 2025, shows Jordan ready to give Portia a thrashing while Trina cautions Curtis and Nina turns to an unlikely source for help. Coming up in Port Charles. An angry Jordan, Tanisha Harper, snaps at Portia, Brook Kerr, and says, "Be a woman and step up." While Portia and Isaiah, Sandy Wilson, seem to have some sparks, Jordan and Curtis, Donnell Turner, have been getting closer than normal. Is a love quadrangle in the works? In a repeated moment from Monday's episode that was so worth revisiting, Tracy, Jane Elliott, announces at the press conference, "I can't do it. I have to tell you the truth." And if the short truth nugget she shared last episode wasn't enough, she's probably going to give Drew, Cameron Matheson, the public verbal thrashing he deserves. Trina, Tabiana Ali, tells Curtis, "I think you're making a big mistake." When last we saw them, Trina demanded to know what was going on with Portia. The weekly teasers state that Curtis reassures Trina. But did he tell her about Drew's blackmail? If so, and he told her about the plan to placate Drew until he makes a mistake, Trina probably has words of warning about it. Sitting at a restaurant with Marco, Adrian Anchondo, and Sidwell, Carlo Rota, Lucy, Lynn Herring, says, "I, perhaps, could still make it happen." Meanwhile, Nina, Cynthia Watros, emphasizes to Carly, Laura Wright, that will be the beginning of the end of their relationship. The teasers also show that Nina seeks help from an unlikely source. She's already teamed up with Carly before, so could this unlikely person be someone else? And Willow, Caitlin McMullen, tells a tearful Michael, "Rory Gibson, I know you're used to getting your way, but not this time." So much for Michael opening Willow's eyes to the nefariousness of Drew. Next update, General Hospital spoilers. Two cheaters race to destroy marriage, but who hits the sheets first? General Hospital spoilers reveal that one romance in Port Charles is already on the verge of falling apart. Portia Robinson, Brook Kerr, has told one lie too many, so Curtis Ashford, Donnell Turner, is having a hard time moving past her latest round of deception. Of course, all this drama with Drew Kane, Cameron Matheson, has stressed Curtis and Portia to the max. It's easy to see why Curtis has been drawn to Jordan Ashford, Tanisha Harper, as a confidant and someone he can reminisce with about happier times. Unfortunately, Portia's jealous outbursts aren't going to fix anything. It's clear that Portia has a problem with Jordan reconnecting with Curtis, but lashing out isn't going to repair her marriage. Portia may have another problem of her own, even if she doesn't see it yet. Isaiah Gannon, Sandy Wilson, has stepped up as a good friend to Portia, but there's a thin line between love and friendship on soaps. In the June 23rd episode, Isaiah stumbled upon Portia while wearing only a towel, so it certainly feels like the show's trying to push them together. It makes perfect sense for GH writers to send Isaiah in Portia's direction while Curtis is potentially falling for ex-wife Jordan again. Since Isaiah used to date Jordan briefly, this is turning into a giant romantic mess. With Portia and Curtis both growing closer to other love interests, we've potentially got two cheaters racing to fully destroy this marriage. It may just be a matter of who's going to hit the sheets first. Will it be Portia, who falls into bed with Isaiah and puts the final nail in her marriage coffin? Will Curtis sizzle with Jordan beforehand and snap the last hanging thread of his union instead? It may not even matter since Curtis is worried it may already be too late for his relationship with Portia. Even so, viewers are definitely watching this love quad and speculating on who's actually going to make the first major betrayal. General Hospital spoilers say Portia, Isaiah, Curtis, and Jordan all have some exciting material on the way, so stay tuned for updates on any cheating news that might be on the horizon. Next update, from GH to Hitchcock, Kin Schreiner's unexpected tribute to the birds. Kin Schreiner dealt with an issue in his parking lot that prompted him to reference a classic horror movie as he felt he was living it in real life. General Hospital fans have been scratching their heads, wondering where Scotty Baldwin has been. They weren't too happy when Kin Schreiner hinted that the door was closed on him. But whatever his status is on the show, the actor never stops entertaining his fans. He recently turned a gripe into comedy gold disguised as an homage to old Hollywood on social media, and his followers couldn't stop laughing. It's like a horror movie. On X, formerly Twitter, Schreiner wrote, "The birds. Hitchcock was right to make the movie." What he was going on about was illustrated in a video he shared. The actor used his favorite filter on the clip that made it look like old, worn-out film. He panned across his car and stated, "I'm like Rod Taylor. The birds. It's every day." He continued, clarifying his gripe with, "This parking spot, these birds just cover my car." And in his trademark growly voice, he stated, "I'll beat them. Rod Taylor beat them. Where's Tippi Hedren?" Classic Hollywood stars Rod Taylor and Tippi Hedren starred in Alfred Hitchcock's gloriously frightening 1963 gem, The Birds, in which people are relentlessly assaulted by several avian attackers. Don't mess with birds. While one fan hilariously commented, "Death birds," another wrote, "Maybe get a car cover." Now, I know why you go to the car wash every day. Because that bird poop can eat your paint job. Schreiner responded to the fan with, "Yes, my car wash time has quadrupled." Another of Schreiner's followers shared exactly how much the film affected them, commenting, "I've hated birds ever since I saw that movie." One fan shared the warning, "Careful. The birds will peck your eyes out," and another corrected the GH star with, "Rod Taylor didn't beat them. He had to flee his house. Don't mess with birds." Next update, Tracy blows up Drew's press conference, and Michael learns of Willow's wedding plans. Today on General Hospital, Kai tells Trina that he's taken a job with Drew. Isaiah tries to cheer up Portia and only makes the situation worse, and Nina tries to convince Carly to get Michael to let Willow see her kids. On the Metro Court patio, Carly talks with Michael about Daisy's christening, but Michael appears distracted. She calls him out for being somewhere else. Michael can't help but feel it is cruel to Willow that he's hosting this celebration for a new family member. He worries he's rubbing her face in the fact that she lost everything. Carly tells him he's a good man, but he has a new baby, and that is something to celebrate. She says he also shouldn't feel guilty, as he didn't do anything wrong, and the judge made her decision. Michael wants Willow to be a mom to their kids again, but Drew is the problem. Carly says Drew is family, which is the most sickening part in all of this. Michael says that Drew using Wiley was a despicable move. Carly notes Willow seems blind to Drew, but Michael vows that will change. Michael says if there is any chance of Willow seeing her kids again, he needs to get rid of Drew. He thinks that if he can force her to see that she lost her kids because of Drew, then she might walk away from him. Nina tries to convince Willow to wait. At the pool, Nina is stunned by the news that Willow is marrying Drew right after divorcing Michael. Willow insists this is how she'll get her kids back. Willow explains that if they present themselves as a legally married and stable couple, the judge will give her generous visitation rights. Nina worries the judge may see this as a tactic and the judge will think she's only marrying Drew to work the system. She also points out that the judge doesn't want to see her making reckless decisions. Willow says Martin suggested this, but Nina doesn't think it means she needs to marry Drew right away. Nina tells Willow not to elope or have a quick wedding, but have a real wedding so the judge knows it's real and not a marriage of convenience. Jordan and Curtis relive their past. Jordan runs into Curtis, and they chat. Jordan reveals that with her new job and salary, she is upgrading her living situation and moving. They take a trip down memory lane and recall a stakeout case they worked on in Baltimore in the blazing summer heat. Jordan remembers them celebrating by the waterfront after they caught the guy, and it was the best feeling ever. Curtis agrees. Martin gives Drew good news. Martin meets Drew in his office and tells him that Tracy is caved and they have her where they want her. Drew says this is the second best thing to happen today, the first being Willow agreeing to marry him. Martin says it's a smart strategy, but Drew says he also loves Willow, so it's not just a strategy. Soon they'll be sharing the same last name, Quartermain. Tracy has misgivings. At the Quartermain mansion, Tracy tells Brooklyn about Drew's offer to make the ketamine charges go away, and she has to decide if she'll give in and read his statement. Brooklyn doesn't see what the problem is. Tracy says her pride wants her to go to court and fight these ridiculous charges. Brooklyn thinks Tracy could lose given she already tried to frame Alexis for drunk driving once, so she might need to suck it up and take Drew's offer. Brooklyn tells Tracy that if the Quartermain name is what Drew needs, then give it to him. It doesn't make him a Quartermain, and they'll never accept him as one. Tracy decides to proceed with the conference, and Brooklyn insists on going with her. Trina's shaken by Kai's news. Kai stops by the gallery to see Trina and tells her he accepts Drew's internship. He explains he'll be working for Drew from his office in Port Charles, so he won't be relocating to DC. Trina is happy that he's staying in Port Charles, but he wonders how she feels about the job. Trina admits she doesn't trust Drew, and working with him is a mistake. Kai knows her parents have issues with Drew, but he's been nothing but good to him. Drew is giving him a chance to get into politics on a national level. He's interested in seeing where this goes, and he just hopes this won't come between them. He also says perhaps Drew will give him a reason not to like him, but he has to learn that himself. He gets paged to attend a press conference and says he'll call her later. She kisses him and says she doesn't have to agree with him to be on his side, and he's got this. Isaiah gives Portia a show. At the hospital, Portia sits in the locker room and is sore from long hours. Isaiah appears in a towel and says he's sorry and thought he was alone in here. She says it's fine. She's just had a 16-hour shift. She's trying to work up the energy to go home, but she can't find it. As Isaiah dresses, he asks why the co-chief of staff is working such a long shift. She explains she filled in for Dr. Park and admits she's been avoiding going home. Isaiah suggests she find a way not to think about work or home. Isaiah calls her a superstar, but she's no good to the patients or staff if she runs herself into the ground. He says she needs to have fun. Portia has no idea what that is anymore, so Isaiah says they will change that. He says it is a beautiful day, and they will have some fun. Isaiah's not so great idea. Back at the pool, Curtis and Jordan note how that stakeout was a long time ago, and they have come a long way individually and in their careers. Portia and Isaiah show up, and Curtis gets a call from Trina. She's at the gallery and asks him to come by. Curtis takes off, leaving Jordan to relax on her own. Portia rants to Isaiah about Jordan and Curtis' behavior, which she doesn't think is proper, especially in public. Isaiah admits he's not impartial as he and Jordan used to date. Portia and Isaiah grab a table, and Isaiah thinks the situation is adding to her stress, and they should go. Portia won't be run off, and notes Curtis didn't even notice she was here before he left, so something else more important must be on his mind. Across the pool, Willow understands what her mother is saying, but this may be the only way to get her kids back. Nina again urges her not to rush into this, and they can plan this wedding together. Willow says she'll think about waiting. Willow says she needs to go, and walks off like a zombie. On the Metro Court patio, Carly asks Michael if he will keep Willow and Drew out of his children's lives for good. Michael says Drew will never be a part of his children's lives, but he wants Willow to be. Michael takes off. Later, when Carly is alone, Nina grabs her and warns her that if she doesn't get through to Michael, Willow will marry Drew. Across town, Willow goes to the Quartermains to see Michael. He tells her the kids are out with Yuri. She knows and she came to see him. The press conference will begin momentarily. Tracy and Brooklyn arrive at City Hall, where Chase is waiting for them for additional support. Martin appears with the script that Tracy is to read. He then introduces the topic of the press conference to those in attendance and says it will begin shortly. Brook vents to Chase that Drew framed her grandmother and that she'd never let herself be caught if she really committed the crime. Meanwhile, Drew gloats to Tracy that it didn't have to come to this, but now that the shoe is on the other foot, it proves he's a real quartermain. Tracy mumbles, "Think again," to herself. Drew spots Kai and is glad he is here. He tells Kai that after today, he and Tracy can put this ketamine nonsense behind them and he'll have the quartermain name back. Kai flashes to overhearing Curtis mentioning finding Jacinda and paying her to say Drew took the ketamine willingly. In the show's final moments, Curtis arrives at the gallery and asks Trina what is wrong. She tells him that Kai has accepted a position as Drew's intern. Curtis tells her not to let the tension between him and Drew affect her and Kai, who seems like a good guy. Trina knows her dad is trying to find the escort, but how does that protect her mom? She needs to know what trouble her mom is in. At the pool, Portia tells Isaiah that you can't fix a situation until you know what you're dealing with. Isaiah gets a call he has to take and steps away. Portia takes the opportunity to see Jordan, and she snaps that Jordan must be exhausted from entertaining her husband all afternoon. On the Metro Court patio, Carly tells Nina that she feels awful for Willow, but there is nothing she can do. Nina says that eventually Willow will get visitation, and they can't let Drew be an influence on those children. She knows she can pry Willow away from Drew if she can see her kids. She tells Carly it's in all their best interests if Michael lets Willow see her kids now rather than later. At the mansion, Willow admits to Michael that she never expected to lose custody, and she doesn't want to have to go through that again. She says they need to set a good example for Wiley and Amelia, and they have to be better to one another. Michael agrees. Willow wants to be fully transparent with him and tells him she and Drew are getting married. At the press conference, Drew opens by stating everyone knows the Quartermains are a contentious group, and they have decided not to clog up the courts and waste the taxpayers' money with what is a family dispute. So, they will be settling this dispute in-house, and he has encouraged the PCPD to drop the charges against his aunt. He says his Aunt Tracy would like to address them now. Tracy steps up to the podium and begins reading the prepared remarks. However, she fumbles and cannot call Drew by the name Quartermain. She says she can't do this. She tells everyone that Drew doesn't deserve the Quartermain name. He did drugs and then framed her, and he should be thrown out of office the same way Monica threw him out of the family home. On the next General Hospital, Tracy tells the truth at Drew's press conference. Jordan tells Portia to be a woman and step up. Trina tells Curtis that she thinks he's making a big mistake. Lucy meets with Marco and Jens and says she could still make it happen. Nina warns Carly that will be the beginning of the end of their relationship. Willow tells Michael, "I know you are used to getting your way, but not this time." Thanks for watching this videos. Please hit the subscribe button for more updated news.